Another really interesting study came out in the journal Nature just a couple days ago. These guys, and this is written by professor out of UCSF in San Francisco. What they did is they went into the database of 2,000 drugs approved for humans, and they tried to pull out the drugs that seem to act on areas of the human body that the virus uses to get into the cell, right? So, and to duplicate itself. Remember, viruses go into our bodies, get themselves into our cells, and then convert our cells into making more viruses. So they're tricky little devils, those viruses. They don't duplicate themselves. They actually take over the genetic material in our cells and convert our cells into virus-making machines. And then our cells stop doing what they're supposed to be doing, make gazillions of viruses, particles, and then eventually it fills up the whole cell and the cell bursts open and out comes all the virus particles. So in order to take over that capability, there's various proteins and mechanisms in our cells that the virus has to take over. So they looked in this database of 2,000 drugs. They looked to see where the drugs work, and they found 47 of them that seemed to show promise. And they actually identified a couple of common medications. One of them is used for multiple myeloma. Another one is used for another type of medication. There's one actual antihistamine medication that's used. And they found that some of these drugs had effect in monkey cells in a petri dish. Big step between this study and testing it in humans. So these are just preliminary studies looking at what happened to the monkey cells in petri dishes when they put the drugs in and then infected the cells with virus. So they found some new pathways that are actually really interesting. They're very complex. For those of you that like complex graphs, if you go to the paper, you'll see this whole thing here. Very complex graph showing the mechanisms, but they actually found two different drugs that seem to have a good pathway towards effect. So again, some more good news that as we continue to study this virus, we're going to learn more and more about how it works and be able to try more and more of these drugs. So 47 promising compounds that they looked at. And there was one other one. They actually found one, I'm looking at it, that was very interesting because when they tested it, they actually found that this particular drug increased the ability of the virus to kill the cells and to duplicate itself. It was interesting. Actually, there we go. The drug that they were testing, one of them, that they were worried about the pathway, and again, this is just in monkey cells in a petri dish. But one of the main compounds in cough medicine, dextromethorphan, was actually found to do the opposite. It didn't inhibit the virus, it actually improved the virus's chances of getting into the cell and duplicating itself. So I'm not saying to stop taking cough medicine with dextromethorphan. This is just an interesting thing that they found in a study. But the good news is that besides remdesivir, there are lots of other drugs that already are in humans that people are looking at. So that's the promising thing about drugs.